entire world has been shocked by the revelations from Edward Snowden. He's a real hero. He's exposed what the US is doing. And the paradoxical situation is that the security services, who were supposed to safeguard our fundamental freedoms, to protect our society, have done exactly the opposite. They are spying on everybody, which is in breach of the US Constitution, it's in breach of the European Convention on Human Rights, it's in breach of, common sense and decency, spying against ordinary citizens where there is no suspicion of a crime. And also, even worse, they have been installing backdoors into the internet. Now, this is very, very dangerous, because if the backdoors are there, you never know who can find them. Here in the European Parliament, the LIBE committee, that is the Committee for Fundamental Rights, have organized a series of hearings. We've had confirmation of the leaks, and we have understood, even more about the extent of this, conspiracy, I guess is the proper word. And it's worth taking note that the European Parliament is the only political institution that has done anything at all. On the member state level, I think probably there has been nothing in any member state, not in Sweden, where I come from, not in the UK. And the reason is, of course, that the governments of the member states are complicit in this. They have every reason to just say nothing, do nothing, and hope that it all goes away. But here in the European Parliament we have organized these hearings, and that's a good thing. Edward Snowden has really sacrificed his life. The reason he did was to promote political change. Unless we politicians, generally speaking, all over the Western world, unless we politicians pick up the ball and do something about it, that was all in vain. And since these are so very, very important issues, I mean, protecting our fundamental freedoms and making sure our society is robust against attacks. Yes, and I would say yes and no. The LIBE committee hearings have been very successful in bringing new facts on the table and making it clear that this is a real story, this is an important story. Unfortunately, media coverage of these hearings and the revelations has been almost nothing. But the fact that it hasn't generated more interest in media, that is a big concern. For this to be really discussed in the way that it needs to be discussed, then we do need the help from media. I mean, obviously The Guardian are doing a fantastic job, since they were the ones who came with the revelations in the first place. But I would very much have wanted to see a wider discussion, so I do hope that will come. In a democracy, media is a very important component. I mean, a democracy is about the citizens should have the final word. But unless they know what's happening, they can't exercise that right. This spying by foreign power on all of us, on all as civilians, is completely unacceptable, and we must do something about that. That's data protection regulation. The first purpose of that one is to harmonize the rules for data protection. Yes, I should explain, when we talk data protection, it's personal data protection. I mean, data doesn't need to be protected, people need to be protected. It's to guarantee that when companies store information about us, when authorities store information about us, it's being handled in a proper way. At the moment, we have a directive from 1995 that has been implemented in the various member states in quite different ways. It would be much better if we could have a common set of rules for Europe, but also the rules need to be strengthened. The Commission presented a quite good proposal, actually. I don't know what will happen in the vote. It depends on the majorities, but it's definitely an issue to keep your eyes on. It's exactly for that reason. It is because people are posting lots of intimate details about their own life. I mean, from pictures of their children to, everything. I mean, we all do that, we all want to do it. But just because we want to share something with our friends on a social media service doesn't mean we want to share everything with every security service in the world and every big company in the world. That's why we need proper rules about this. If the government and big corporations are allowed to collect data about everybody and put it in a big database, that's a risk to society. because it means that it becomes very, very easy to target any individual. It's more a danger to society as a whole than a danger to most ordinary citizens. It's only when citizens really care and really show that they care that the good forces have a chance in the political system. So I would want the election campaign to be about issues that actually are decided by the EU, and this surveillance is one of those issues. Yes, that's true. I mean, the European Parliament can't make new legislation on its own. We have to do it together with the two other institutions, the European Commission and the Council of Ministers. The European Commission is the only institution that has the right of initiative. They're the only ones who can place suggestions for new laws on the table. And the Council of Ministers always has to agree together with the European Parliament. But having said that, I mean, you've got to start somewhere. And the European Parliament at the moment is the only political institution anywhere in Europe, to the best of my knowledge, that is doing anything at all with these inquiries. He had a written declaration that talked about protecting the children, but unfortunately advocated censorship on the internet. And to me, not having censorship, I mean the free flow of information, as guaranteed in Article 10 of the European Convention of Human Rights, is a fundamental thing to society. The right to send and receive information without interference by public authority and regardless of frontiers is one of our fundamental rights and a very important one. So censorship is not the way to forward. Real proper police work done by real proper policemen. I mean, yeah. The internet...
It makes sense.
Yeah, the internet is nothing magical. It's not a new world, it's not a computer game. It's just yet another technology, just like the telegraph or the telephone or printed newspapers or postal service or whatever. The same rules should apply, and the way to combat criminals is exactly the same. Proper policemen doing proper police work. The internet is just an ordinary part of the world and has to be treated like the rest of the ordinary world.